Hi everyone, this is Fracture with a quick tutorial on adding a little bit of analog loveliness to your dead horrible sample pack kicks. So I'm just going to jump straight in. This is the sound in context. So you can hear it most at the end there when everything else is quietest. This is a subtle effect, but it's very evocative. It evokes a time when electronic music was less clinical, and I use a lot of sampled acoustic instruments, so it just kind of makes these clubby sample pack kicks fit a lot better with the rest of the audio that I'm using. So I'm just going to get rid of our crackle, reset our channel strip. I'll start from the beginning. So this is our kick on its own. Now it's fine, it fits well with the track, but it's not going to have much staying power over the duration, and in sections where things drop out and the kick is left on its own, it sounds way too clinical and way too repetitive. So I'm just going to jump into our music folder, samples, do a search for crackle. If you haven't got a crackle folder, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I've already decided that crackle 6 fits nicely. It has a nice broad frequency range. Let's just have a little listen. Okay, it's good. We can already tell straight away that there's far too much low end information in that crackle. If we play it again. Yeah, all this stuff down here is going to be totally eating up our kick drum. So we're just going to roll it off up to 100. Try that with a kick. Maybe even take off a touch more. Yeah, that's good. You're still getting the sub of the kick through. So we'll copy and paste this across. Try not to do it too exactly. There's literally no point in having this match to your bar lines and then repeating exactly as it was, because then bar 26 would sound exactly the same as bar 27, and it wouldn't give the kick that extra development and staying power and interest across the whole song, where you're hearing a slightly different thing every time the kick hits. So looking at this crackle, we can see that there's some large peaks jumping out at us. In the context of listening to vinyl crackle on its own, I just think that sounds beautiful, but I'm going to be using it so subtly in this song that those clicks and pops at that amplitude are probably going to jump out, and they won't in fact sound like vinyl crackle. They might sound like badly edited audio where you've cut it off or started it at non-zero crossings. So I'm going to put on a fast compressor, grab our R compressor, check the attack down so that it's hitting the clicks and pops as soon as they arise, bring our threshold down, ratio. This is great techers here doing it without even listening to the sound. But you know, it's vinyl crackle, who cares? It's not an exact science. And here we're taking off 6 to 10 dBs. I think that's fine, and it's just stopping the worst of those clicks and pops jumping out. Especially when you're listening on headphones, this kind of stuff's really important, because those sounds that you may not hear in your speakers will be so obvious to someone with a great pair of headphones. So we just need to rein it in a little bit. So now we've got our kick and our crackle. Doesn't really sound like they're the same instrument, so we now check on our noise gate. And a noise gate would usually gate the sound and then open a gate when the crackle hit a certain amplitude. So maybe it would gate all this kind of low amplitude information and let the pops through. But actually what we want to do is sidechain it to the kick so that the gate opens whenever the kick hits. And what we get is this. I don't know if that was too quick. You can see the sidechain option up here. Most compressors, noise gates, those kind of things will have a sidechain option. You might need to root around for them a little bit, look in the manual, I don't know. So we've got our crackle, but it doesn't sound like it's coming from the same source because the envelope of the kick does not match the envelope of the crackle at all. So we're going to adjust attack, hold and release to try and match the envelope of the kick, the attack, the sustain and the decay. We're going to bring our attack down a little bit. That hold is far too long, so the held note of the crackle sounds very unnatural. A kick has more of a initial attack and then a decay. So we're going to bring the hold down to, I think 20, maybe 30, no 20. And then we're going to up the release to match the decay of the kick as well as the reverb that's been applied to it as well. I think that's too short. While that's lovely, I think it's too long for what we're doing. So let's try 200. I think that's about perfect. So obviously in the context of the song, the crackle is too loud. You want to enhance the sound. You don't want it to be all in your face or it's just going to get annoying, particularly in sections like this where the other instruments have dropped out. Yeah, terrible. So we're going to, I mean, what we could do is just bring our fader down here and drop the gain of the crackle so that it well match the kick. Actually, there's something else you can do. You can chuck on the gain utility and use this to do most of your volume editing beforehand. And the reason for doing this is that if you look at this fader down here, at the bottom we're moving in steps of 5 dB. Then you go up, you're moving in steps of 2 dB. Up here it's maybe 0.2 dBs, and then it's only when you get up to unity gain that you have the fidelity to move in steps of 0.1 dB. So if we want to have the most control over the amplitude, we want our fader to be up here somewhere. Now in the past, when you were using analog equipment, you may not be able to do this because gain staging is really important, and it would be ridiculous to bring the gain down so much in one kind of unit and then bring it up in another. But working with digital audio, the noise floor is so low that we can get away with this kind of stuff. So let's just try those sounds together. We've got our gain on -21. I think we can probably afford to go a tiny bit louder. Already you can hear it's just adding that extra interest to the kick. They don't sound like they're from the same instrument, but if we were making hip hop or something, we maybe wouldn't want all this really modern kind of sub sound in the kick, so we might roll it off to somewhere up here. And now it really does sound much more like they're from the same sound source, but I don't mind the contrast, so I'm going to leave my nice deep kick and we'll try it in context. And I think, yeah, that's great. Like I said, it is extremely subtle, but you want the sounds to be evocative. You don't want to be like all up in your face. Oh, I love vinyl. This is all old school music recorded in the 70s. You're not going to get away with that, but you do want to evoke things, and this will sit better with the natural instruments that I'm using in this piece and make it all sound more cohesive as a whole. Okay, this was my first tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. Like I was saying before, noise gating, sidechaining a noise gate can be used creatively in a ton of different ways. So just have a play around with it. Maybe use it to trigger your synths, trigger some pianos, that kind of stuff, and just see what comes out. If you like this, I might do more of them. So would appreciate any feedback on how to improve or doing better next time. And that's me out. Peace.